Live. Check, check. All right, we are gonna try. We're gonna try calling um, Steve Esbin right quick. Let's see if it comes through.
Yo,
Yo, can you hear me?
yeah, you hear me?
Loud and clear. Actually, let me turn you louder. How's that,
Good.
dude?
What's shaking?
So I'm practicing a live feed. So you're live on Facebook with me,
Oh, cool.
and I'm like scrolling through Facebook, and then I see this picture you just posted,
hmm
and up in the right corner, I'm seeing something sexy. What? Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that is called the Nacho. It's a little dense swim bait paddle tail that it's kind of one of those things that they'll do like random drops,
Yeah.
um, and it's from the same collaboration of the burrito, which is a larger.
Dude, I was like, this looks like a burrito.
Yeah, so that's his little baby cousin, the nacho, and just a bite-sized morsel.
Is
That's it's done really well for me. But yeah, it's Mike Buca and oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the group. But it's a team of anglers from Mexico, and they've kind of perfected those, and they do offer those more and more actually now. The
so it's
nachos are
a
more and more available.
man. Okay, so in my other feed, when I was just messing around, I was like, that thing looks pretty custom to me. Is it still custom right now? It's not available quite yet.
No, they're not. Well, in some sense, they're custom in that they're just really small launches and pre-orders. You just got to keep an eye on the website and the Instagram or whatever for when those little launches happen. But yeah, they're really really cool baits. I've really enjoyed fishing the burrito this year. I've been making a point to get in the swim bait game
That's so
uh,
funny.
a bit more. So
I
yeah,
was I
man,
was
it's a
just
really cool
thinking
bait though.
about getting like a swim bait rod actually.
Yeah, like a dedicated one.
Yeah, like a dedicated setup, and like in my research, the burrito has been coming up a lot, and that's why when I
Yeah,
saw it, I was like, that looks like a tiny little burrito, aka a
yeah,
nacho.
yeah. Well, what's really cool about those baits is they're silicone as well, so they're a little bit tougher than your standard hand pour or plastic pour like your working class or like their battle shad or your citizens.
Yeah.
Some of the bigger soft baits like that. So it's really tough. It can take a beating from our toothy critters that we
True
have up
that.
here. So I've had no issues with that. I've had none of them ever. They don't wash out. They don't roll over. They're just as long as you keep them stored correctly. I just use paper clips and I just hang them from my pegboard,
Dude, that thing
and
looks so. It looks so good.
it's awesome. Yeah, that little bait is killer. And
Okay.
yeah, you can fish it a multitude of ways. I know guys burn them like a spinner bait on like wind blown points and that sort of thing. Um, but I've had my best luck with like long drags. So I'll just use
Mm,
my rod and I'll drag it 5 6 feet pretty quick, not a super slow drag like you would a jig,
yeah.
and then just kill it and it just dies. It noses down and it just looks like a bluegill or a crappie just
Is it
nibbling at something on bottom.
is it weighted in the belly there?
Yeah, yeah, it's got pretty good weight to it. I'd have to check what it weighs, but I think it's over an ounce.
When is
That
this?
little guy.
When did you catch this fish?
The I'd have to look back. I'm not really sure when I got that. That was
Okay,
a good fish though. That was
dude,
a
20
good battle.
plus.
Yeah, it was. I think it was one of my only 20 plus this year. But I've been on a mission for a 6 pounder here in Michigan,
Mm,
and I got really close this year. I had a 512, and that one was
God.
I don't know. I think that was like 5.4, but um, yeah, still going,
Yeah,
still
dude.
trying. Yeah, man.
I'm
So what's
like,
new with you?
oh, just I don't know, messing around with all this like video and audio equipment. I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
gonna do with it. And I was
Yeah.
literally like, I need to call someone. And then I saw this
Content
photo.
stuff? Just creating
Eh,
content, that's really.
content. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I was thinking about like talking to maybe like tournament directors or like maybe guys while they're doing something in a tournament. I don't know if they'd want to talk about that in that
Yeah.
moment, but or maybe like post tournaments or I don't know.
Yeah.
We go to so many cool places. I can set this up literally anywhere and maybe like talk
Hmm.
to like an event coordinator or like one of the bars that we're at or I don't know.
Yeah. What specifically are you working with? Is it some sort of new camera, or is it just a whole scope of new stuff you're working with?
So I got it's all Zoom products. It's from like Zoom. What is it? Zoom Corp, and they're just
Okay.
basically like, from my understanding, they're like entry level mics and podcasting stuff. And then so I've just been like
Cool.
slowly expanding the arsenal. So like right now I'm on like a decent dynamic microphone into a podcasting thing, and then I have like the ability to make sounds and
Ah,
stuff.
cool.
Yeah, and
Little
then
soundboard.
yeah, a little soundboard, and then my family got me for Christmas the external webcam, which you can set up. So I'm practicing like putting all of that together, and hopefully this call's going through to the live because then we'll have it recorded, and then I'm like, oh, okay, now I know what I can do with it.
Sure.
So now what do I fill it with?
Yeah. I mean, well, you're super creative, dude, and come up with good ideas. I always thought it would be cool to stream live while out on the water. I had some decent interaction and a lot of fun just with old friends hopping on. Last year I did it. Just ice fishing was easy for me, and I just did it on my normal phone. And man, it's so much fun bringing people along with you on your adventures. So
Yeah,
I think you might find just something simple as that. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
And it depends what your goals are, you know?
I know. I'm sitting here like I've got creator's block slash like that blank page feeling. Like I could do anything. I could record
Right.
anything. So I got
Sure.
to narrow it down for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like calling people is a little easier too, because like if say you're fishing right now, like we could still talk and you could still fish. It wouldn't be,
Right.
like I'm not there with you live on a camera or anything.
Yeah.
I was trying to get Polen's. Polen's down in Florida somewhere.
Yeah, I saw that. Those weren't Michigan fish he was pulling out.
No.
He got an eight. It was an 888. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's been
That's
sending
a
me
pretty cool number.
every fish he's been catching. He's been texting me like, "Oh, it must suck to be up there in Michigan right now."
Yeah. Do you know what took him down there, or just
The
wanted to go on
the
a
bite, I think he would just wanted to get out of
sick?
town for a bit. Like we're both teachers, right? So I'm
Oh, that's right.
sure I'm sure the year's been grinding on him, and he had to go clear his
Got it.
head and fish.
Yeah.
What better place to do it? But
I can't imagine, dude. I really really envious of those pictures, and I know it can be a special time down there. I don't fish down there very often, but I know I think they're coming up on one of their mini spawns that happen throughout the
oh,
year.
really?
So
Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, I think if I might be mistaken, and um, but I know as you get further and further south, the potential for as much as four or five spawns. So I guess we'll never know how many
Dang, that's
take
wild.
place. But yeah, those fish are thick. I think those are a lot of pre-spawn.
Really?
I'm
Wow,
sure there's
that's
I'm sure there's
nuts.
post-spawn and spawners all in the mix. But yeah,
Well, there
things
goes
happen
my
different down there,
Christmas break for the next however many years.
dude.
I was watching a Zona video. He was talking about false spawns of smallmouth even up north sometimes. They'll do.
Yeah, um, it's a polarizing subject, I would say.
Hmm.
Your traditionalists that say no, there's no chance, and then you have your people that have seen it. I'm one of the latter. I've witnessed a bed um, pretty pretty late. I mean, October
Mm,
with a fish on it.
interesting.
It seems to be a temperature and moon thing. But
Yeah,
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 what did Zona have to say about it? I haven't seen
yeah.
his take.
He was up on a spot in northern Michigan that I immediately recognized just from doing
Hmm.
tournaments, and I was like, I know
Hmm.
exactly where he is. But he's
Hmm.
like, that right there is a bed, and
Hmm.
it's late fall, and
Hmm.
he dropped to it, and ate his drop shot like it was defending it. And he's
Hmm.
like, sometimes you'll get these late like fall, everything falls into the right spot. The light. He was talking more like the
Hmm.
daytime. It's the daylight,
Hmm.
and I'm sure the moon, and I'm sure the temperature as well. But he was
Yeah.
saying it's more like the to watch the day light, like the amount of daylight, and you can
Yeah.
kind of start to predict it.
Yeah. I heard him and KVD have been talking more and more over the years about daylight and how that plays a role in getting the fish moving.
Mm.
So I don't know much about it. I need to dive in there and really explore that a bit more.
Yeah, like this season, I tried to pay attention to temperatures a bit more, like night temperatures. So I was like keyed in on like the day temp, the night temp, and
Hmm.
then the moon. But
Yeah.
it would make sense that the amount of daylight we have would affect the amount of like the temperature of the water. That'd be kind of a cool experiment, actually.
Yeah, it would.
Anyway,
Yeah, my focus this year, which did not pay off in any way whatsoever, but it was the um, sort of the progressive wind pattern leading up to fishing day. So like
mm,
looking at the 3, 4, whatever previous days of wind, with the assumption being that is if there was multiple days in a row of a certain direction, that is actually where you should fish versus wherever the wind is blowing the day of. Does that
interesting.
make sense?
Yeah, I've tried to do that as well to varying success.
Yeah, I've always done better just fishing the wind in
Yeah,
that moment. I found, and I think my my record or whatever you want to call it, not last year, but 2021 reflected that because I fished the wind hard and I had a great year. So it's just
interesting.
brutal to do in the yak, but that's getting easier and easier with all the new tech and
Yeah, that's true too.
everything. So yeah, man.
Well, cool, man. I appreciate you. I'm gonna listen back to this and see if it comes through. If not, it's just people listening to my side of the conversation.
That'd be weird.
Wouldn't that be weird? Anyway,
Yeah.
hopefully
Well,
I
let me
hooked
know
it
if
up.
you want to. Let me know if you want to talk fishing again, man. I'm always
Heck
down.
yeah, dude, absolutely. Now that I know that that thing's called the nacho, and I googled
Hmm.
nacho, and I got lots of pictures of chips, and now that I know it's connected to the Bukas, Mike,
Mike, yeah,
dude, Mike Buka. I've been looking at a lot
he's a
of his
great
swim
guy.
baits, but that little one looked deadly, deadly.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little morsel is what I call it. And
Yeah, dude.
when they're not, if they're not committing or they're just, um, following the burrito, I'll hit them with the appetizer with that little nacho, and
It's that boot tail, man. That boot tail looks so good. And
they did a great job designing that little guy.
was black and white on purpose.
No,
Oh, because sometimes
I
I'll
just
put
like that
black and
picture.
white just so I'm like, no one knows this color. They can't know the color.
Oh, no, no. They're pretty basic colors, but they're starting to do more like chartreuse. And um, if you
Yeah.
go on the Buka site, there's a burrito called, I think it's called the Smalley Smasher. I got a couple of those. I'm super excited to try that. It's like a pearlback chartreuse belly.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I'm taking a look at all that stuff right now.
yeah, yeah. It's no doubt, they're no doubters when they eat that. For the most part, as I understand it, with these bigger swim baits, they're actually eating those head first.
Damn.
Um, so about
Smallmouth. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to get on some smallmouth with a swim bait, like these mag drafts. I got these Japanese
mm-hmm,
5-inch mag drafts.
mm-hmm.
Like, I want to see what a smallmouth will do to that.
Dude, throw the 7-inch, throw the 8-inch at them. I mean,
Really?
I've heard that they'll smoke the 8-inch too. Like
I'm,
they have no issue. I mean, we are so
dude, I'm
me. Oh, I
holding.
shouldn't say we. Me personally, I've been so uh, drilled. When fishing gets tough to go small, and my finesse game, I would say it's not top tier, but I'm pretty good finesse angler.
Right.
God, we're just missing a whole group of fish that are aggressive and angry and want that big meal.
Dude, I'm
Um,
holding an 8-inch right now. And I
yeah.
just the thought of a big smallmouth on this, I could see it if they hit it the
Hmm.
right way. Like it's all about
Hmm.
where they're gonna hit it, and most of those big fish will eat something head first, especially because they're
Yeah.
big enough to take
Yeah.
something big down the throat like that.
Yeah. It's, if you're in a tournament situation, or if you're like me, where you're just chasing big fish for certain points, certain times of the year, um, it's it's wild to see how big of a fish will eat that bait. I
Yeah.
remember specifically on Muskegon Lake, I was out with Scott, who I work with at Pure. He's the local rep in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just fishing a bluff wall. And he's like, this is usually a good spot to drag a worm, do this. And this was right in the middle of the summer. And I was like, well, we're pre-fishing, so let's see what's around. And if anything comes out to play, we'll know. And I chucked that big 8-inch swim bait and went on for the next like hour or two, um, just catching, pound and a half fish, 2 pound fish on it, like nothing. But
Wow.
behind those fish, you'd see these big, dark,
Ugh.
just blobs just slowly following it. And I'm like,
Uh,
oh, those are the ones.
yeah.
Those are the ones you want to commit. But yeah, 2 pounders have no issue. I've
Wow.
had catching at 8 inches, but the commitment and the grind, whew,
To throw
is
it.
tough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's tough. Yeah, and to get that speed just right. I've not dialed in the mag traps yet. I
Yeah.
know a lot of guys have. I know it's that perch and that pearl have just produced
That's what I'm
around
holding. I've
docks
got the pearl in my
for
hand right
everyone.
now. 8-inch
Yeah,
pearl. It's got
yeah,
teeth marks all up in it, but never caught anything on it yet.
you will.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
will.
I'll probably. Well, now I'm sold. I'm gonna go buy a friggin' swim bait rod right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones out there as far as rods go. I I know a lot of guys really really like, just like entry level, really like the Dobbins,
Yep, that's
some of
on
the
my
Dobbins
list.
Fury
I've
series.
got that one like on
But
my
I know
list. I'm researching.
you're bougier than that. So there's a mega bass one. My boy TJ over on the east side throws. I think it's a Leviathan, but
Yeah, I've
gotta
seen.
look up what that
There's
one
one
was.
called like the tequila something. But
Yeah.
basically, they're all like 8-ish foot, pretty
Yep.
heavy, but like regular bend. Is that what I'm understanding?
Um. So I don't know. It kind of depends. For the softies, I throw. So for the bigger softies, my burrito rod is the Abu Garcia Veracity 711 heavy fast.
Yeah.
That's more
Okay.
of a jig hook.
Right, because it's like
Um.
single hook, you go fast tip,
Hmm.
and then like triples, you go more round bend.
Yeah. So for glides, then the bigger the glide, I got a pretty big swim bait rod. It's rated 3 to 10 ounces, I think. Um.
Fucking
And
broomstick.
it's a little. Well, yeah, it is. It's a little more, and it's 8 feet, and it's a little more fast moderate, I would say.
Okay.
It's not a cranking rod by any means, but it's definitely got a little more
All
bend in
right.
it. And I throw like the K9 on that. I like the Arashi glide on that.
Yeah, dude, I've got so much
But
on my
yeah,
list. It's like thousands of dollars worth of stuff.
I got that, and then I really like the Beast reel. The Revo, just the standard Revo Beast handles it great. 20 or 25 pound fluoro, and you're set.
Okay. The Beast Reel is like
Yeah.
what, like a 150, 200, or is like size?
I'd have to look there's so many in that family now. I'd have to look what just the standard
Yeah.
one is. But if that's something you're interested in, let me know. We'll talk about it a little bit more.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, dude.
All right, dude. Have a good one. Thanks for calling.
You too.
See
Yeah, man.
ya.
Later.
Well, hopefully you heard that conversation because there was a lot in there. But if you go to check out Steve Esbin's Facebook, if you're friends with him, the Nacho might be something I'm trying to get my hands on. But yeah, a lot of the Mike Buka stuff, like the dude started in his garage, right? He's making swim baits. Just kind of like started making them for himself, really. And like, there's a lot of good stuff on YouTube where he talks about um, making them and like keeping them to himself for a long time. But then also he started really sharing them. You know, he wanted to share them, and but it's hard because they were all really custom made. And there's a shot in one of his facilities where you can see every generation of the Buka shad And then he started coming out with like the gill pattern, and you can just tell how much craftsmanship goes into these baits. And then yeah, then they started making the soft plastics, or maybe the soft plastics came first. I'm not too sure, but if you go check that out on YouTube, you'll be able to see a lot of him talking about it and him wanting to share them. But then having that issue of like mass production and the whole business side of like he's got a great product, but he can only make them as fast as his hands can move, and then he's got to train people, and it's actually really interesting to think about, like a really great bait that went to scale, and the bull shad and the I think it's the bull shad. Yeah, the bull shad is the one that kind of really went mainstream. Got in the sense that it just got manufactured at a greater scale. But Steve said to keep an eye on the website and the Instagram. I'm definitely gonna do that. The website looks like it is called bullshad.com, bullshad.com. And check out all the products there, and then let me see if I can find the Instagram. And the Instagram is bullshad underscore swimbaits. Gonna give it a follow right now. For those releases, look out for that nacho. That thing looks absolutely deadly. Kind of looks like a Megabass Dark Sleeper, but very, very different. It's different. Just by looking at it, you can tell. So that's funny. I was like, that thing looks like a burrito, and it turned out to be that same company. So let's go. We're getting the getting the knowledge. We're acquiring the knowledge and the skills to be able to kind of like not only find good spots, because we talked about a couple spots there, but also to have an eye out for the baits that are being used. A lot of times the people, when they pull fish up on like Bassmasters or something, they'll pull that bait out, switch it with a bait that's on the ground, show you the one they're sponsored by. But if you're careful, sometimes, not every time, they don't always do it, but sometimes I've caught guys that'll flip them up on a certain type of bait, and they'll say they're using something else. And I don't think it's to be tricky or anything like that. I'd probably do the same thing if I could. But if you can have that eye out, you can find different types of baits that people maybe don't want to share or not talking about. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, I appreciate you checking out this feed. Hopefully everything's worked. I'm going to listen back and hopefully it all comes through. But yeah, if you like this, leave a comment. Let me know if we're going to keep doing this. I don't know, but I've got a winter to figure it out. I've got some time on my hands, at least right now. So, yeah. See you guys later. And Happy New Year, man. Peace be with you.